Hello, 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 and welcome to another live stream by Virtual Flight Diaries. We are here in Boca Raton, Florida, because we are in the Beech Bonanza, and it is cold and miserable up here in the Northeast. So why not fly in Florida? So we're going to head down to the Bahamas, and we're going to check out the Beautiful Black Square Beech Bonanza here. All right. So I have no idea why that switched over automatically. But anyway, we're going to do a little walk around. We're going to look. I'm going to go over how to lean this one out. We're going to. I planned to lean her out rich of peak for power. So there's two modes of leaning this aircraft. You can go rich of peak or lean of peak. Rich of peak is leaning for power, and lean of peak is leaning for economy. So you actually you trade off some speed for a longer range. But since we only have an hour flight over to the Bahamas, we're just going to lean it out rich of peak so we can get the full advantage of the engine's horsepower. But so everybody on board, let's get this puppy fired up. All right, so first things first, we're going to check out our payload here. So how much fuel do we have on board? 331 pounds, 350 required. So let's put a little more in the reserves, because this is in case we have to, come back to Florida. And we've got 4 passengers on board. That's all looking good. All right, all the wheel chocks are removed, and we are good to go. So let's so it's really easy to set this plane up. It's actually, there's nothing difficult about it. So all I got to do is we're actually going to put it on some ground power, just so we could program our flight plan and get everything in first. And I'm going to show you how to start it up. And we're going to do a simple run up and head on out of here. So I did plan this stream for yesterday evening, but work got in the way. So I got home about 8:45, and I sat down here and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could just fire this up 9 o'clock. And I'm like, I really wanted to take the time to really optimize my system. So I sat down and I'm like, well, as much as I optimized graphically, inside the computer and everything like that, because I had originally had 2020 on my computer, when I installed 2024, we're going to Terps, I kind of had things all over the place. And it's something I've been meaning to do in a long time, and probably one of the major reasons that I had micro stutters and everything else in the sim is because I had my community folder on OneDrive, my my cache and my flight sim on another drive, and it was just bouncing between drives, and one drive wasn't as fast as the other drive, so I decided I'm going to sit down and I'm going to consolidate my flight sim all on the same computer. Since I, deleted 2020 completely, I had the space. Well, simple, right? No. So the community folder was on a drive that I didn't want to put the sim on because it's a slower SSD drive. It's it just wasn't optimized, for things. So I had what do they call it, MF or NVMe drive that I wasn't using for anything important. So I wanted to put that on there. So I had to switch my community folder over to this drive, and that turned out to be more than a project that I thought, oh, I got to burn an hour, get some rest. Yeah. Nope. 12:30 at night, I'm still working on this. But I got it. We switched everything over. My community folder, I didn't realize, was 800 gigs for 2024. I have tons of stuff that I load in because I stream. So I want to make sure I usually try to have scenery. I mean, we don't have any scenery for Boca, but I do have scenery for Nassau. But tons of stream, tons of liveries, and it ended up being 800 gigs, and that thing took forever to transfer over to between the drives. But here we are, everything on here, and I'm actually I should have done it earlier because I actually boosted myself probably 30 frames per second doing all that. And knock on wood, we're pretty smooth. I'm actually quite impressed. So I got the sim community folder and my cache all on one drive. But all those people are saying that that's what you have to do to make the sim weren't lying. I was struggling, and I kind of knew that I had the problem with it being spread out like that because it had to draw information. I mean, it's common sense. I had to draw information from different drives. So, if you guys have your sim kind of spread out, I would suggest looking into consolidating it all into one drive. Even if that means like buying a new hard drive and just dedicating it to the sim, you'll see greater improvement. All right, so our flight plan is in. That all looks good. All right, we're on a network because I was hoping maybe a little bit of ATC. NASA was up last night, but it's okay. All right, so powering up. I do kind of, I don't have the printout checklist for it, but I'll kind of do a little flow here. So we got battery, and what I do is I put the alts on. Actually, what we should do is, no. I'm going to store you, Boca to Nassau, and then kill the avionics. You shouldn't start the engine with the avionics on. And you can actually, because the failures are modeled, you can actually pop a circuit breaker doing it in the sim. All right, so beacon nav can come on. These all stay off. These all stay off. We're going to make sure our weather radar is off and everything is good there. Oxygen looks good. We're going to make sure we're on the fullest tank. They're both evened out pretty good, so we'll stick with this one. And what we do is we the mixture all the way forward. Turn the auxiliary fill pump on, and we're looking for fuel flow. And we're kind of just priming the engine here. It's about 6-7 liters or 6-7 gallons per hour. And for about 10 seconds. And I pull that back. I pull that mixture back about halfway, and then I kill the fuel pump. Because you could flood the engine, so you don't want to keep the fuel pump running. And then, so we got the door open. Clear prop. There we go. Turn it over. So once it catches, then you're just going to spring the mixture back up. And you're going to set the RPMs for about 1,000. This has great sound. Let me turn the sound up. All right, so it's 86 degrees here in Florida, which is much better than 30 and windy up here. All right, so let's we got that started. Let's pull the ground power out. We can turn our avionics back on. Now, this is the GTN-XI from TDS. I don't know if the PMS 50 has the same option, but you can create and store flight plans. And boom, we're back. All right, so that could go on standby. We'll get you on nav. So air conditioning is interesting. So you can operate it on the ground, but you have to close it for takeoff and landing. And one of the things is there's a huge scoop that drops down that captures the air and blows it into the compressors to make to make the air conditioned air. So takeoff and landing, you don't want debris and whatnot flying up into this thing, so you have to keep it closed. But we're on the ground. We can try to use it. It's not as efficient as in the air. But we're going to close the door. Got the air conditioner on. We'll turn it on low. Put the vent blower on. And we'll pull the cabin air here. All the vents are open. Could start cooling down once we get taxing. Like I said, it's not very efficient on the ground. All right, so we're cruising at 7,000 feet today. We are going to be taking off runway 23 for a northeast departure. Northeast departure. Boca Raton traffic, Bonanza 556 Alpha Papa, taxiing to runway 23, Boca Raton. Okay. Parking brake released. So we're going to go down here and we're going to do a little modified quick run up just to check our engine out. I made that call. I didn't even have the stupid radio tuned in. So it's 118.25. Duh. Let's get that set up. Boca Raton traffic. Bonanza 556 Alpha Papa, taxiing runway 23 for departure. Boca Raton. All right, now we made the proper call. And we got squawk code 4573. That's why there's a actual red light indicator to let you know that the AC door is extended. I'm kind of using just differential braking, kind of just control us down and thing. This thing loves to take off on the ground. So we're flying the turbo normalized version, so it's got a turbocharger in it. So we don't have to worry about leaning as we go up. It'll actually stay whatever manifold we want it at, all the way up to almost 19,000 feet. Then we'd have to lean it out from there. We're not going to go that high. We're only going to 7,000, so because we need oxygen on board for that. All right. All right, we'll go over here to the engine run-up area. We'll go return traffic. 556 Alpha Papa going to be in the engine run-up area for a minute. Boca Raton. All right. So parking brake can come on. All right, you want to make sure. We had a short taxi, so I left it in, but normally ground operations is done with it leaned back. I wanted to get that clear, but we were kind of getting going, so it didn't really. But any kind of long ground operations, you kind of want to lean the mixture back. But for run up, you're going to want it prop and mixture full forward. And we're going to run it up to about 1,700, 1,800 RPMs. And with that, we are going to check our mags. Go left, look for the drop. That looks good. Let it come back. R, looking for the drop. Both drops were within 150 RPMs, and both were well within 50 RPMs of each other. So that looks good. Mag check is good. So we're gonna just cycle. We're gonna run the props a little bit, and we're looking for some things here too when we do that. So when you pull the props back, you're looking for the manifold pressure to rise, oil pressure should drop, and then we should see EGT rise up. I think it's rise. Let me see here. What was it? Oh, drop. EGT should drop. That's right. And in cold weather operations, you also want to do that because you want to get the oil up into the spinner. All right, so cowl flaps open. We're going to close the air conditioning off. I'll leave the vent on. I can come back. I can go on. And we're going to bring it back to 1500 RPMs. And we're just going to check our load. So kill the alternator. Put it on secondary. Half load comes on. Kill that. Put the alternator back on. And that should die out. All right. And we're going to put our pitot heat on. We see load generated there. Prop de-ice can come on. That all powers up. We see a massive load there. And that looks good. We do annunciator test. All the lights seem to work. And then we bring power all the way back to idle. And we let it idle for about, just a couple seconds to see if the engine remains stable. And then we bring it back up to 1,000. And that's just a kind of a quick run up, not by the checklist, but kind of covers the things that need to be covered. So let's go. All right, parking brake released. We're telling traffic, Bonanza 556 Alpha Papa, taking off runway 23 for northeast departure, Boca Raton. Flaps 1 for takeoff. We'll just run it up here to the threshold. Stop and check my control. All right, let's go. Run them up. Bring a buck halfway. Everything's in the green. EGT coming up. And let's go. Full throttle. It's 80 knots. Rotate. Just slightly bring the yoke back. Nothing, you don't need to jerk it. Pause the brake, gear up. Beautiful aircraft. It's also a very powerful engine. It's a Continental IO 550, I believe, 300 horsepower. All right, so you're gonna bring it back to about 30, about 29 on there, and then you can run it, the RPMs at this level, but I like to just pop it back there just a little bit. Boca Raton traffic, Bonanza 556 Alpha Papa just departed. Runway 23, returning out to the northeast and climbing to 7,000. Last call, Boca Raton. And the Bonanzas are really nice to hand fly. So you're going to pitch for, at the very least, about 110. You got good climb power, good climb speed there. Really nice plane to fly, hand fly. Trims very nicely. And you can just pitch down a little bit. We're getting a little slow. Yeah, I'll switch over to Unicom. I'd say it's about an hour in flight. So we'll do a little little overview of leaning it. So you can see the wind is kind of blowing us off course here. So I can kind of concentrate on talking to you guys. Just chilling out with the flight. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Put the nav on. We're almost up to cruise, so kind of just dial it down in so it doesn't slap you. Captures a lot better. Look at those clouds, Jesus. I think some storms are building in Florida. I don't know if that's how it's looking in Boca right now. All right, so we're up at our cruise. So we're going to look at getting our cruise settings in. So we're going to do 24 in the RPM. We're going to leave the manifold pressure where it is. So we're going to do 24 in the RPM. And then we're going to lean out rich of peak. So when they say peak, they mean peak EGT. So when you're going rich, the first cylinder to reach its hottest point, its peak, is where you're going to set rich from. If you're going lean of peak, you're actually going to lean out the peak of the last cylinder that reaches its hottest point. And this little gauge here will help you do it precisely. Otherwise, you can use the EGT. You just pull back the mixture until it comes up, and then you'll see it start to drop again. And you can keep pulling back, and it'll lean out, lean of peak, or you can push it forward again, and it'll actually get cooler too. But it's not as precise. This actually something like this actually helps save your engine wear for the longest. So you're going to hit lean fine, and we're going to go lean rich. So we're just going to pull back the mixture. You're really supposed to pre-game the mixture, so you pull back until you see the EGT rise, and you can then go from here to you just slowly bring it back, and you're looking for it to say leanest. So pick that cylinder up. So you see this number here, it's in the positive. So we're actually, this is a temperature notation. So we're actually 40 degrees lean of peak EGT. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the mixture forward, and we're looking for a negative number. Negative is actually on the positive side. So when you're negative, you're rich. And so we're going to look for about 30 degrees richer peak. So you're going to look for about a negative 30. And you just push it forward. Nice and slow. Gets finicky, gets bouncy. You kind of want to get a ballpark. It's hard to get exact. There we go. 30 degrees, richer peak. We're running at 263 horsepower. At this setting, we should have a good cruise going. So probably help if I brought all my laps and everything in. Here we go. Like, oh, we should be much faster than that now. All kinds of drag out there. So we're actually probably, so it's smooth air. We're probably going to end up in the yellow arc. And what the yellow arc is the speed for smooth air operations. So you don't want to exceed 200, I think it was 205 knots, something like that. But since we're in smooth air, we're going to, we can bounce into the yellow a little bit. If it was turbulent, we'd want to stay down in here. This triangle is our gear extension speed and first flaps. So we can go gear down, flaps to approach after we go below this triangle. This white arc here is your max full flap speed. So you can't go full flaps until you're in this arc right here. And then down here is your stall speed. Right here is stall speed clean, meaning flaps up. gear up and all that stuff, and then here's stall speed with everything out. 2 different speeds. And that's that. So that's leaning and a little insight on the airspeed indicator. As we head out over the ocean. So we've got all our customs paperwork in order. I heard it's a pain in the butt. Never actually flew to the Bahamas, but I really do enjoy it. One of my favorite things to fly GA is down here in Florida. It just feels like a GA kind of state. Got this Flight Sim TO. I think Ryan BATC did this livery. It's a beautiful livery, and we can actually put our custom registrations on here in Sim Update 4. That's all been fixed. So a lot of good things for Sim Update 4. I heard somewhere that Sim Update 4 is going live. December 8th. We have great performance here. I'm getting about 90 frames right now. He's optimized pretty good. But just to tell you, I did some benchmark tests. So before I did my whole consolidation thing, the A350, the AnyBuilds A350, I was maybe getting at best 60 frames. But I was sitting at MSP just doing some benchmark stuff for tomorrow's stream, and I was getting 80 frames. So a lot of truth to what they say about having it all on the same drive. But this I love this livery. So kudos to Ryan BATC. Well, we're all leaned out, so we're actually going to switch tanks. So in order to switch tanks, what we're going to do is we're going to put the fuel to low, switch the tank, wait a second, to see if we still got noise out front, and then we're going to switch it to back off again, and we're now on this tank. So you want to run them back and forth. Usually it's within a half hour. We used a lot of gas to get up to our altitude, so we could run on this one for a little bit. And we're kind of want to balance, try to keep them balanced, or else the plane is going to, be, if it's off balance, it's going to be harder to land, because you're going to dip a wing, and you're gonna have to compensate for that. So you want them to be pretty close to each other. I think it's within 15 gallons between the two is the recommended. But about 18 gallons per hour got if you look here, we can step through. So there we go. We got 2 hours and 57 minutes in the main tanks. So we still have our reserves here. And the tip transfer doesn't automatically go in. Like, it doesn't draw from these tanks. These tanks are just holding tanks. So you have to actually flip these tanks on. And what's great about this is say I goofed and we got out of balance here. I could kind of send some fuel that way. You don't want to do it too much because you're just going to increase the out of balance, but you can kind of boost it within that. But we could sit here, we could turn these on since we're not full up here. Like if these main tanks were full, you wouldn't want to do that because I think it'll actually blow out the bypass. Start kind of dumping fuel. But now we have, no fuel in the tank. You can actually, transfer that in. So we still have it was about almost 20 gallons on each side here, and that's not included in here. So we got about another hour and a half of fuel. That's why I like the tip tanks. Well, I think they look good, but they really give you that extra range. Do some aviating here. The course line doesn't come. So we're going the RNAV 32 into Nassau. Does Nassau have a CTAF? I think they're part of North America. Yep. 119.5. We can actually get that in here so we have it on board. It's on the standby. But everything's looking good. A little cool in the cabin. We can actually close that. We can actually pull the cabin heat. And what this does is kind of draws air off the engine, kind of like the defroster in a car. And this plane is no good for icing conditions. No good at all. That's why I kind of avoided my area. But you want to make sure all the vents are open. There's 2 vents here. There's a vent in the roof right here. And I think there's a vent back here because it's actually simulated, allow airflow, and it'll actually warm up the cabin faster. Outside temperature, we're still good. We're out of the icing range. So you got to be careful. Even if it may be 80 degrees on the ground, but it could be a thermocline up here. It could be, you're in these clouds. It could be actually, 5 degrees, and you'll ice up in the middle of summer. So icing is not just a winter thing. It's more prevalent in the winter, of course. But yeah, it's not a winter thing. But guys, let's got maybe 20 minutes or so. So let's get the music going. Do some chilling. Not right on the channel, so I don't want any like double feed or anything like that. I wanted to cause an echo, so we're not gonna do any music, unfortunately. I wonder, so my headset I'm wearing is Bluetooth, and I wonder if it's having issues running two Bluetooth devices with a speaker. Just see for a second. Yep, that's what it is. So I got to rethink that process here for a sec. For future streams, I got to find a different channel to run music on if I'm going to wear my wireless headset. And I like these compared to the Black Sharks, which are this huge thing. These are more like just, you know, in the ear, and they have a boom mic on it. I keep adding, but I didn't test that, so sorry about that. No music, unfortunately. So you see, we drew from the engine, and we're up to 76 degrees. We can actually kind of push that in a little bit. That's one of the things that's pretty cool with Black Squares. You got these pretty dynamic environmentals that you could manage. Gives you some things to do. So, how's everybody doing this fine afternoon? Doing good, a little tired. Like I said, I was up till 12:30 last night. Got up, went into work a little bit this morning. So I am running on about 3 hours of sleep. I'm too old. I'm getting too old for that. Definitely get too old for that. About 35 minutes until our top of descent. And hopefully go direct to our since there's no ATC on, we can actually go direct. Kind of cut things for. Hey, Drunk Billy, welcome to the stream and chat. That's awesome. Nice evening stream, Drunk Billy. That's right, time zones. Time zones. So it's afternoon for me, so it should be good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. All right, so I'm just going to activate the approach from here, and then that's going to give us our direct to our first fix. Since we don't have any ATC on, we can kind of do our own thing. And we just clean up the gauges. You want to get in really good habit of doing this. It's just good airmanship. So what it does is it puts you on the course track so you can see if there's any deviations. But then you always want to clean up the heading just in case the nav fails. You can hit heading, and if it, like if I left it here and some emergency happened and I hit heading, it's going to start turning us towards that, to 6 degrees or 60 degrees. Excuse me. But if I had it right in line all the time, if nav failed and I went to heading mode, it's still going to keep me on track. But here's also another thing too. If you have this all nice and clean, so say ATC was on and they said, hey, deviate 20 degrees to the right due to traffic, you're already on track here, so you can just go 20 degrees to the right and bang. Especially if it's a traffic deviation, you want to get out of the way as soon as possible. So it kind of gives you that, and if I was already over here and they said, oh, go 20 degrees to the right, you're gonna be like, okay. But if we're all cleaned up, it's just, bang. So it's a good habit to get into. Hey, Limp Rocketeer, hey, welcome to the stream and chat. I just want to let you know that I asked for the stream, and I'm definitely watching, but my cable keeps going in and out because they're working on the internet. Well, you can, if you miss some parts, you can always catch on the replay. So I kind of went over, I don't know if you saw it all, Limp, but I kind of went over the, like how to lean out the plane and start up. Everything else is pretty cut and dry. And also, how come nobody warned me with 2024 that AI Copilot wreaking havoc on my flights? Really? I don't know. I turn all that stuff off. Oh, the Love Cars AI Copilot. Yeah. It doesn't work too well in 2024. unfortunately. But other than that, how you liking 2024? And how much ibuprofen have you taken so far? Oh, it was the one that was missing. Oh, okay. I, I turn off all that AI stuff. It's just all the assists, everything like that. Just it really does get in the way of things. Helpful if you're just learning, but if you already kind of know what's going on, it really kind of gets in the way. So we're actually going into the yellow arc band here. So we're gonna dump our wing tanks into here just to stay out of the yellow arc. And it's not a fast process. I mean, we could fly in the yellow arc. We're just not supposed to take off in the yellow arc. But we can definitely land in the yellow arc. But just for management purposes, we're going to turn on the tip tanks, the transfer and transfer fuel into here. And you can see it's starting to come in. And what it is, it's just a pump that's pumping the into the main tanks. You have the option to not have these either, but it really kills the range. Yeah, I've been watching the whole stream, but I've had to do it on my PlayStation 4 mostly. Definitely not engaging the chat on my PlayStation 4 though. No, I get that. It's nice weather you're having down here in Florida. Yeah, we are way more stable now that I consolidated that stuff. I can't. I know I keep talking about it. I keep what's the word? I keep glazing on the fact that I did this thing, and the thing is I really should have done that to start. So, but it's really making the sim work good. Yeah, we got this cold front moving in here, so it's like 72 out. And we had about 80 in the cockpit starting up in Boca. But that's probably why all the clouds are around. But yeah, you definitely should. Now that you're in 24, you really should pick up these planes. They're loads of fun. I would suggest picking up both the 58 and the Bonanza. I don't know if you're a big twin engine GA guy, or I don't know if you're a big GA guy to begin with, Limp, but that twin Bonanza, the Baron, that thing is nice. And you can lean her out, and you could put 1,200 miles on it. Granted, it'd be 5.5 hour flight, but and the pressurized one's my favorite. That's where you can cruise. You can set the cruise up to 20,000 feet. Oh yeah, this thing's a beauty as well. They're both awesome, in my opinion. This one's just, well, this is the turbo normalized one, so we can actually get a little more speed. But if we were in the regular aspirated one, we'd be going about 170 right now. Turbo normalized, we got a little more horsepower. We can keep the manifold pressure up. Or right here, we keep the manifold pressure up. The Baron, we would be doing about 250 right now. Both are very similar management wise. The Baron might be a little easier because you don't have to manage the fuel so much, because we have to switch the tanks. All right, low on, switch the tanks. We wait. We've still got noise out the front. Shut the pumps off. So what kind of problems did you have with the iFly Max in 2024? So I was having VRAM issues with it, mostly. They seem to have been sorted out. And now I'm actually curious, since I've completely optimized my sim right now to the max, if I'm going to have those problems. Because I'm butter smooth right now. Yeah, so I hooked up my track IR for this flight because I was like, oh, GA, perfect track IR kind of thing. And the calibrations were all dumb. So I have to recalibrate the whole thing again. Yeah, but the major thing I had with the iFly was definitely VRAM hits. But I think it also, a lot of my problem was the way I had my sim set up. So most of my scenery from 2020 is working well in 2024, so I'm happy about that. That's cool. So a lot of the scenery is compatible, but the problem I found out with the compatible scenery is you get some stutters because it's not quite optimized sim object wise. I think it's called. You know, the asset packs for 2020 don't quite marry the best in 2024. So sometimes, especially in the older sceneries that say they're compatible, but haven't been any kind of asset pack updated, it stutters a bit. So you're not telling me anything. I spent about 2 hours trying to figure out how to get the Toby tracker to work in 2024. Now I heard that the Toby eye tracker, there was issues. I know there was issues in the beginning with the Toby not working at all in 2024, which made a lot of people like really angry. But track IR works great. Just gotta have it all updated and calibrated. Yeah, I turned it on and I'm sitting there before the stream. I'm like, oh, this will be cool. I turned it on, unpaused it, and I was like this. I'm like, it's moving around, and it was just going like that. And I'm like, oh, crap. So, killed it. Dead to me for now. Now I got to sit down and figure it and recalibrate it all. I just wasn't going to do it right before the stream. All right, we got about 18 minutes to our top of descent. And we're the only one coming into the Bahamas. I did pick up scenery. Who makes the scenery for Bahamas? I'm actually excited to see this one because I didn't own it. It's a 2024 native scenery. Picked it up for $11 on the marketplace. Actually, it was on Black Friday sale. So I do a lot of my GA flying down here. So what altitude do I need to be at our initial approach clicks? So we need to intercept at 2,000 feet. Nothing really crazy. So missed approach is climbing right turn to 2,000 and then direct back to our initial approach fix. It's actually one of the simpler ones that I've ever briefed. I got decision height about 328 above the ground. We are LNAV, VNAV capable because I got all the modern stuff. This setup here in real life would be like $25,000. So there's still a few issues with it. I used to make that trip from Jupiter, Florida to the Bahamas in a boat. Awesome. How long did it take to do that? I saw a video on YouTube of a bunch of guys that actually took their jet skis from Jupiter to the Bahamas. In about an hour and a half. All right, that's cool. Was it Freeport or Nassau that you guys went to? I'd like to come here in real life someday. Caribbean looks beautiful in the sim. We went both sometimes. We didn't even stop and just fished around the Bahamas. Nice. Nice. That looks like real life. On the east side of the Bahamas, the continental shelf's right there, and it's good value. Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is. See, what I like about Florida, I wish I had the opportunity to fish there, is you guys get deep fast. So you don't have to go very far out to hit the deep water, right? In Jersey, we have to go out, 50 miles almost to get into that, that deep water. I think it's about 55 miles to the canyons. But there's definitely some really good tuna fishing out there, though. Guys, if you haven't already, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, it really helps out the channel, and because it tells YouTube to push this out, so for other flight sim people, enthusiasts and otherwise, and it actually helps out the channel a lot. If you really like what's going on here, guys, you can hit that subscribe button. We're trying to push the channel up to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to be part of the crew, I would greatly appreciate it. Especially if you like black square stuff. If you like GA flying, I mean, we do a mixed bag on this channel. We do GA, we do Bush, airline stuff, virtual airline stuff. We've gone anywhere from Alaska to Papua New Guinea. So that's what it means. Virtual flight diaries. You go all over the world. Explore the world in the sim. So not many of us are rich enough to explore the world outside the sim. All right, so our tanks are empty. Green lights are out. We kill the pump transfer. And now we're back up to where we started in Florida. Now we could extend our range even further for the cost of some airspeed if we leaned out lean of peak. But in order to lean out lean, you kind of need one of these engine monitors, because in real life, if you're not precise enough on the lean side, you can cook your cylinders. And in the sim, you can cook your cylinders. The Black Square definitely has all that stuff modeled. I said it's about time. It's about that time almost to repay a visit to Vlad's castle. Yes, let's go back to Romania very soon. See what updates on the fly-by-wire, and do the fly-by-wire A320 again. All right, we're all looking good. We got about 9 minutes to our top of descent. I mean, we could actually descend down now slowly, but that's a real slow descent. So let it build a little bit. Get a little bit closer. We'll probably head down early because I got no, like I said, no ATC, so we kind of can do our own thing. That's the thing. I still have scenery for that. I wonder if it works in Sim Update 4 beta. That's also what I'm running too. Did you, Limp? Did you guys go into the beta, 2024? it's really stable. It's almost, from what I read, it's almost ready for release. And dynamic registrations are in effect as well with the with Sim Update 4. They finally fixed it. It's a Sobo. They fixed it in 2. It was working, and then broke it again in 3, and now they got it back again. I like to have my own registrations. That's a good call. Because I play with the beta. You know, when I read that it's stable, I test it out. You know, but I think they're on their last build. I think it's ready to go. But it's really stable. Some of the planes are broken. Like, for some reason my DC-3 is broken, which is a little irritating. Hopefully they fix that. The big thing I'm waiting for is the PMDG 737. You and me both, brother. But I've got none. I haven't seen any teasers for a release date. You know how they like to post their pictures. You know, with the plane warming up on the tarmac, and then the next picture will be it taxiing out or something like that, and then, you know, lift off like it's ready to go. I haven't seen any of them yet, so I'm not thinking this week. Middle of next week, I heard those rumors as well. And I'm keen, since PMDG doesn't screw around with that. So if they release the NDA, they're happy enough to let it shine to the public. That I think you're right. I think it's going to be next week. Yeah. The rumors are flight sim. And I would love to know how people come up with those, considering PMDG doesn't release crap. They don't even tease a date. There's Nassau right in front of us. We got a visual on the island. Drunk Billy said makes sense to aim closer to Christmas. They did say that it was going to be back in November. They said it was going to be somewhere around the end of the year. But 2 weeks before Christmas, I like that. I'd like to be streaming it for you guys right now, but I seen V1 get caught, everybody, with the devs, and he mentioned something about next week. So I didn't get a chance to watch V1's videos on it. So I know Rendazzle pops in on his chats. So hopefully, it's probably where they picked it up. He probably teased it in a chat. So, but I know they're getting a lot of hate. But from what I saw, it looks really good. It looks really good. Yeah. So the sounds. Sounds. Everyone hangs on the sounds. Boris will eventually update his sounds, so everybody needs to relax on the sounds. So Lip said, sorry, I'm using my voice to type. I said he got buddy with the devs. Yeah, he got buddy. He's been friends with PMDG for a while, both PMG and Phoenix. But it's really hard, from my understanding, to partner up with PMDG. They're very they're not willy nilly about who they give their stuff out to. Low sub channels like mine, just starting out, then we're not getting partnerships with PMDG. I mean, even people like XP72 doesn't have a partnership with. All right, so 2 minutes top of descent. We can drop down now. So we're going to go down to 2,000. That looks good. We'll just power back a little bit. So when we get too fast, the air seems pretty calm today, so. And what you want to do is you want to monitor here. It'll tell you if you're getting too cold, which means you're starting to shock cool your engine. So you're going to keep the RPMs up a little bit. And you don't want to actually drop the manifold pressure too much. Like if we went to idle right now, the cylinders would get too cold, and you'll start getting a warning. You can actually ice up the cylinders in descent even on a summer day. But we're all looking good. Coming on down. Let's get on the CTAF. Nassau traffic, Baron 556 Alpha Papa, sending out a 7,000 for 2,000 on the RNAV 32 approach. Nassau. There's our airport. So the RNAV, go out here, come over, and we'll come on in. So we didn't have our air conditioning on because it got kind of cool up here. So you don't have to worry about that. But other than that, we'd have to shut the air conditioning off. You can leave the vent on for landing. We left our lights on, that's fine. Just gonna scan, everything looks good. Gonna want to slowly start bringing the RPMs up in the mixture. As you descend down. So if we were not in the turbocharged Bonanza and we started descending down with it leaned out, especially lean of peak, you could actually kill the engine. You just want to slowly bring them up as we descend down, and so that you want to make sure that that you are at full RPM and full rich for landing, because you want takeoff power for the go around. bring that back to 20. It's good for the descent.
Vertical track.
So vertical track means that we're 1 minute out from our top of descent. But since we're already descending, we're good. You can actually see here. But you want it to be 2,000 by here. So 7,000 to 2,000. We'd be coming in, you know, we're nice and shallow with this descent. We'd have to be coming in at like maybe 1,400 feet per minute. So it's a little more aggressive, I should say. So we opted for the less aggressive. Nassau traffic, Bonanza 556 Alpha Papa, turning base, runway 32. Any traffic in the area, please advise. Nassau. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put heat all the way in, just because it's going to get warmer and warmer as we descend down. So we don't want to be drawing that heat into the vents. And it's actually dynamic. You can actually, like, if it got too hot in here, we could open this little window, although it would be kind of noisy. But it'll cool off the cabin. And of course, you know, with all Black Square, we do have our noise canceling. Right, so we got 323. Let's get our flight recorder up. Nassau traffic, Bonanza 56 Alpha Papa, turning final, runway 32. Nassau. I messed up the recorder. All right, just so that's out of the way. And we are coupled approach, so we can actually arm the approach. But I'm just taking the workload off of me, but you can actually hand fly this really nicely. It's really, really good. I'll probably end up doing that once we get a good visual of the runway. All right, so we can actually, we can go flaps approach, bring it out, and we'll drop the gear, start slowing down. We're 1 minute out to capturing the glide slope, or the glide path. It's not a glide slope. And just bring it in on that white arc. I leave it a little fast, because in real world, this is a international airport, so there would be airline jets as well. So you want to keep it a little fast coming in. It's just a personal practice. I mean, there's nothing to worry about. It'll slow up really quick. All right, so then you want to flip it to the fullest tank. We want fuel pump on for landing anyway. We'll flip you to the fullest tank. And it looks pretty good. We might be a little bit out of that 15, but we should burn the fuel up enough for landing. All right, so we're on the glide path. Power back just a little more. And I'll show you how fast this thing will slow up. All right, gear down, flaps to go. We got props and mixtures full. Landing checklist complete. We keep it just on the top end of that white arc. We can drop landing flaps even at this higher speed, which will help us just bleed off that airspeed. We got 9 knots, looks like right down the pipe. Perfect. There's 1,000 feet, stable, cleared to land, missed approach altitude is set. Drop landing flaps. Bring the manifold pressure down to 15 and just watch that airspeed bleed right off. We even have to give it a little more juice. I come in about 90 knots over the threshold. There's 500. My plane.
500.
Give it a little more juice. There's 90 knots. Kind of hold it around there. Looking good. And we switched into a little bit of a crosswind. Not a big deal. A little low, but we're visual, so that's fine. Plus the pappies are all messed up in the sim anyway. And we'll aim for the touchdown markers. It's over the threshold. Bring it to idle. Flare, flare, flare. Hold it. And welcome to Nassau. All right, we're going to go over here. Turn off here. Nassau traffic 56 Alpha Papa, clear the active. Nassau. All right. Textbook landing. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It definitely felt good. I must say though, I am a little better with the GA stuff than I am with the airliner stuff. But I actually do have some real world, about an hour of wheel time in the actual Bonanza. Never landed it or anything like that, but did get a chance to fly it around. So, all right, well, we're going to lean for ground. We're going to set the parking brake. We're going to bring the flaps in. And open the window. Got about 1,000 RPMs, and we're going to kill the landing lights, kill the strobes. Fill the fuel pump. We're going to open up the cow flaps. There is our after landing flow. Nassau traffic 56 Alpha Papa taxiing to General Aviation ramp. Nassau. We'll kill the stop the recording. Go over to General Aviation. We'll shut down. We normally don't shut down, but we can in this plane, so I want to show you guys kind of like what do you want to do with shutdown. And it's easy to start back up. So we went over the General Aviation ramp, and we'll turn in our customs items and enjoy our day in the Bahamas. The scenery does look nice. I honestly don't know where the General Aviation ramp is in this scenery. There's a big hangar over there. I don't know if we can head over to that hangar. Probably not. Probably turned in too early. That doesn't look like much of a taxiway there. I said, I'm glad you said that about the runway poppies in 2024. And each one of them have not been lined up with the pattern. Now, they're all, I've encountered, they're all trash. I mean, look at, we were shown low, and the sight picture out the window looked way better than the pappies were indicating. Which really stinks because, I mean, as pilots, you kind of train to look at those pappy lights, and I don't know why Asobo does that. I don't know what the problem is with that or how it can be fixed, but all right. Parking brake set. No. Brake set. Kill the taxi light. Kill the panel lights. So you want to, just like starting up the plane, you want to power down the plane for turning the engine off. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill the avionics. We're going to kill the pitot heat. You're going to leave the beacon and nav lights on. You're going to want to shut off any oxygen or anything else that you had on. But I'm going to kill the standby alternator, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're at 1,000 RPMs. Bring the mixture up, and then we're going to, what you want to do is you want to see, so one of the failures in this plane is a hot mag. So you're going to just shut it off and then turn it back on. If it stays fired up. You're good. No. And then we can just bring the mixture back. Fill those lights. Alternator, battery power. Here we are. So let's real quick while we're here. Let's check out. Go to drone cam. I want to check out this airport. Looks like a pretty cool FBO. Is that customs? Got a nice weird seal on there. Let me remove my keybinds. No, Jet Center Nassau. So that's where we went. That looks like a nice place to go to, guys. I'd kind of want to go there. We parked over at the Big Boys lot. Kind of wanted to head over here. Too much static planes, though, in the scenery. I really think it's okay to put some static planes in here, but I think they overdo it sometimes. We've got the terminal over here. Maybe shady, probably all like the turboprop area. We got the jet terminal over here. Pretty cool. Getting nice frames too. Go up a little higher. Keep hitting the wrong keybind. Can't remember my drone camera stuff, but yeah. So I picked this up on the marketplace for about 11 bucks, guys. Cool. All right, so let's see what our landing rate was. So get the landing rate monitor up. So I use the landing rate monitor because that's what's going to be used for our virtual airline. Where are we at? There we go. Landing rate monitor. So LeBrocketeer says, did you see that new company coming out with the subscription for multiple airport sceneries? I did. I'm not keen on it. And I just don't think the subscription is a good price point for us as the consumer, because they can easily end up pricing themselves way more than sorry guys, I haven't way more than the product's worth. You can end up spending way more than the product's worth. So all right, so open the client, and I didn't have it open. All right, so what's Volanta say? What does Volanta say? So 91 and 106, guys. 91 and 106. That is looking really nice. And it looked like a sub 100 landing. That came in nice and soft. We were so soft we're still flying. See, you and I would not be keen on it because we've already spent so much money on sceneries already. Yeah, I'm just really, you know, just in the mindset of, buy a buy a $20 scenery and just be done with it. I could see it being beneficial to streamers if you were just starting out and there was plenty to have with it because plenty available because a subscription, I may stream for entertainment value to a place in, say, Vietnam, but I don't fly there on my own personal level all the time. So, but you want to have that nice scenery for the stream. So I end up buying a lot of sceneries that I'll never really use again. All right, we're just going to do. Should not have to really prime it much because the engine's still warm. We vapor locked. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat because I just want to get. No, we're not. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it drained out faster than I thought, so we're going to have to prime it. So really easy to get started, right? Duh. All right, I'm going to cheat again. See, now I flooded it. All right. Flooded engine ops. Mixture to idle cutoff. Throttle to idle, or mixture to cutoff. Throttle to idle. Mixture up. So we're starting to cook our starter. Come on. There we go. Oh, that's how you cheat. I wanted to get her started back up. And then try to remember the procedure without looking it up was a little bit. All right, so get the lights on. And we'll get the recorder up. Run it forward. Nice, easy landing. See how I was talking myself through the procedure of the landing? It's a good habit too to get into because it keeps you focused. Right at the touchdown markers, or I mean the aiming point. Nice. Not too bad. A little off center, but a whole lot of runway to go with. Landing rate monitor said 95. 95. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be the stream today. And I want to thank everyone for joining me for this flight. It was a lot of fun. It's fun to do GA stuff. I like to do it every once in a while. But tomorrow we are going to be in the airliner. We're going with the A350. We're going to be flying from Minneapolis, Minnesota, down to Atlanta, is my guess. But that might change. But I'll definitely post it in Discord and for the start of the stream. So until then, guys, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for all the likes, for joining me in chat. We had Drunk Billy, Limp Rocketeer. Really appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. And I'll see you again tomorrow. So until then, this is Virtual Flight Diaries. My name is John, and see ya.